Ooh, ba 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 ga 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 boom boom ba ga ga ba 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 boom boom ba 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 boom. God, that intro. I fucking love that intro. Obviously, if you couldn't work that out, it was the Universal intro, seen before it pops up before many films that you might watch at the cinema. It gives me that whole intro gives me a flicker of excitement. It's epic, isn't it? Like the way the globe sort of slowly shifts into focus and the music. Well, every time you hear that ba, 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 boom boom, you know you're onto a winner. Except the film I'm about to review. So, honestly, such an epic intro generally leads to an epic film. I mean, it could be Lucy, Scarlett Johansson that you sat down to watch, or Bad Moms, Despicable Me, not that epic. Pitch Perfect, R.I.P.D. These are just things I'm plucking out of the air that I know have the sort of Universal logo intro. And yeah, unfortunately, The Lesson, starring Richard E. Grant, was the worst. I love that. I'm going to keep doing that. It was the worst intro ever. I genuinely, I don't have anything good to say about this film, but I just wanted to note it for myself, mainly so I can look back at this to remind myself never to even consider it again. So, auditorium count, 2. There were 2 of us the day that I saw this in the actual place. So you have me in the middle and a woman right up at the back, I think. And when the guy in the cinema foyer, when I went to get my ticket, the guy behind the counter, he swiveled the screen round to where you select like your seat. He asked where I wanted to sit, and the 5 or 6 sort of shaded out seats that I saw on the chart, they basically didn't turn up. They probably knew how fucking diabolical The Lesson was going to be. So I legit cannot say anything good about this film, I don't think. No moments to highlight, nothing stood out, no performances to dissect. There's nothing at all good about this film. So it's basically, in a nutshell, an aspiring writer turns up at a wealthy family's sort of mansion in the middle of the Irish countryside to tutor the novelist father's son, so played by Richard E. Grant. So this young chap, he turns up at their house to tutor Richard E. Grant's character's son, so that he can get into like university or something. I so wasn't interested. Oh my God. Seriously. Do you know what? Right. Just side note, let me just park that for a second. When I looked on the Cineworld website at this film, it billed it as a thriller. A thriller. Basically it wasn't. So this tutor turns up at the wealthy family's house, and scene after scene after scene after scene after scene passes with the tutor and the kid, both sort of sitting in the garden, almost in near silence. I mean, they're either sort of sat reading, or just writing. It's an absolute treat if you're into films that will just bore the shit out of you. So yeah, a lot of that basically. They're sitting at the living room table doing the same thing. So they're writing, the occasional sort of look up, look back down, scribble, scribble, look up, look back down, scribble, scribble. So scene change. The tutor is actually played by Daryl McCormick, who he's actually in a lot of things at the moment. I think he's in The Woman in the Wall on BBC iPlayer. So he's in quite a few decent productions, I believe, except this. So, yeah, the next scene, JM, played by Richard E. Grant, the father, he'll sort of walk into his office, sit down, start writing. The tutor, Daryl McCormick, then enters. A brief conversation between them both about how the son is progressing in his work, how the tutor really, really wants to be a writer, an aspiring whatever. Then that sort of blends into the other scene, which the next scene is, ironically, it's the tutor sitting at his desk, and it did actually make me laugh, because he sat there and you sort of see, it's like on the time lapse sort of thing, where you see the sun come up and go down, the moon come up. It's like that kind of thing. So he sat at his desk penning something. I don't know what. I wasn't interested. And like the sun comes up, sun down, moon up, moon down, and the guy, his character, actually falls asleep at his desk. So, and then it blends into sort of the next day. And I swear to God, I mean, did whoever was filming this sort of tap into the director's psyche and sort of produce this scene that just mirrored everybody's exact feeling or something? Because it just summed up basically the entire film. If I wanted like a close-up lesson myself in sort of dinner table etiquette, how to dress smart as a butler, how to walk around a garden very slowly, admiring the sky and flowers and things. Oh God, I would have asked for that. I didn't want this. This was I almost felt like, have you ever seen a film that you think and is billed as something totally different to what you've sat down to watch? Well, and you actually genuinely feel like you've been taken the piss out of just by sitting through it. And if you have, then that's how I felt, basically, sitting through the lesson. I was so fucking bored. It honestly felt like I was sitting, like I said, in that scene with the tutor at the table. It felt like I was sat watching the days just passing and passing. And do you know what? I usually absolutely adore Richard E. Grant. I really do. He's one of those actors who, he might be typecast, but he can get away with a lot, because a lot of other actors are just themselves in films, aren't they? A hell of a lot of actors. Richard E. Grant, though, you can kind of let it slide with him because of his eccentric, sort of swanky personality and his whole just marvelous persona. He's just a wonderful performer when he's on stage. He was brilliant in Dom Hemingway back in 2013. Yeah, I usually love Richard E. Grant, but in The Lesson, well, it taught us all a lesson, to be honest. Right, so there is a twist, a slight twist, but there is a twist towards the end of the film, but it's nothing you wouldn't expect, given how absolutely just inwardly thinking the main character is, how selfish everybody in the film are, and how Richard E. Grant's character, J.M. Sinclair, his name is, how he brings the whole thing to a close it's just weird. It's just plain weird. Do you know what? I fucking hated this film. Why would they bill this as a thriller? I'm trying to think. I mean, towards the end, there's something slightly sinister that happens between the mother and the tutor. She kind of reveals her true colours, as in she's a nasty bitch, basically. End of. But again, that's not. It's nothing. just didn't interest me. Nothing about this film interested me whatsoever. So note to self: don't even look at a fucking poster of this film again. It was absolute shite from beginning to end. So you've got you've got the characters and the sort of illustrious setting. So it's kind of it's a little bit isolating and beautiful, but otherwise it's just literary hell. Absolute hell. They're just sitting at tables and writing, and there's nothing. I mean, I would honestly, I would ask legit writers to sit down and actually watch this and give me their opinion on it. I'd love to hear what they think, seriously. So yeah, you've got a slight twist at the end between the mother and the tutor, but in all honesty, the best part of this film was Castleford, which is the place, the cinema that I went to watch it. I've never actually been to Castleford. So on the Saturday afternoon that I popped over to Cineworld, I jumped off at the station, walked through town. Some of the houses are gorgeous in Castleford. And I walked down this lovely little, it's not exactly white picket fences, Desperate Housewives style, but like gorgeous sort of houses and pristine gardens, led me down this like back path that up into this lovely little shopping. There's a discount shopping outlet in Castleford, in case any of you are interested. And then directly opposite the outlet shopping centre is Escape, a family fun day type place. It's got, it's just a gigantic entertainment complex. So you've got the cinema up top with kids also up top hanging from the roof. There's like this kids climbing thing where they're just thrown off, like they're just hanging on ropes and swinging about and stuff. It's fucking nuts. So you've got this whole family sort of vibe in there. Restaurants, there's snowboarding section out the back, arcades, and even a swimming pool. It's the ultimate day out for families. It's lovely. And yeah, the only sort of downside is everything in there is a sort of upmarket end to a restaurant or shop. So if you need like a bottle of water, you have to go to WH Smith or something. The restaurants are Bella Italia, Starbucks. You won't go and not spend under sort of 50 quid. So yeah, there's a Wetherspoons just outside, just in case you need something cheap. And there we go. Do you see where I'm going with this? I've got absolutely nothing else to say, nothing at all to say about the lesson. The best part of this film was where I was. Never been to Castleford before, but I'll be going again. So yeah, it's quite a nice little cinema. It's just a shame there was literally two of us in a 200-seater, maybe just under 300-seater cinema. Yeah, so that was one film to avoid, because I haven't sat in front of a shit show like that in ages. I think, there's been a few boring films recently, but this, oh God, please avoid the lesson at all costs.